Hey everybody, my name is Yanthar. So this entire blog is going to be dedicated to the final boss of the demo. This is going to be Apprentice Dragon Baron. In the previous vlog we actually got our third unit and defeated the Squadron of Baron. That was basically his preliminary army, and now we're going to go on to fight him. As part of this fight, he's going to be a boss that has a little bit of a challenge to him. The first things first, he's going to summon an arena around him, so whenever you engage him, you're locked into the fight, and you will have to fight him until either you're dead or leave the arena or something like that. I really want it to be an instance where if the player dies during the boss fight, they have to reset the boss completely. All other bosses don't have this aspect, so you can kind of freely fight them in and out of combat as you lose units and whatnot, but for this one I want it to be special, and I want it to be more of a challenge. So his main reward is going to be a Tome of Mysticism. This is going to allow your units to advance past the Disciple. Taking a look at this view, actually, I'm really liking these textures on the wings. I think they turned out pretty nice. So it's going to have a few unique spells. The first one is going to be a giant fireball that chases after one of your units, and then when it gets close it's going to explode. The next attack is going to be a tornado. What this does is it sits there in a single spot, and as player units touch it, they become unable to move. However, they're still able to be attacked. Lastly, the most iconic from the 2D version of the game, the Draconic Fireball, a slow to cast and slow moving fireball spell that deals tons of damage. Going in line with the rest of the game, I want this to also be a spell that inflicts self-damage. So if you're close to him when he casts it and hits himself, it's going to be hurting himself. I think that's a cool little dynamic that will aid to the fight and make it a little bit more fun. Finally, his most powerful ability, when he's at 50% or less HP, he's going to have a new spell called Falling Stars. What this is going to do is start to rain down stars from the sky, essentially as fireballs raining down from the sky. The player's going to be able to see essentially like a shadow or something like that as they're falling down, so that they know where to dodge. But it's going to basically riddle the entire arena with falling stars. I'm not sure if I want this just to be a cast spell that lasts a few seconds or like 10 seconds, or just an entire arena effect, so once you get him down to 50% HP, he just has falling stars throughout the entire arena the entire time. We'll have to see. I definitely want to lean towards the challenge, so we'll see what I come up with, and I'll see what's fair as far as the design goes. Alright, so I finished designing and setting up all of the new spells for Baron. So let's go ahead and we're going to walk through them one by one. Let's start here. So we're going to start with the Draconic Fireball. So this is the signature spell of Baron. It is going to be a very huge AoE type spell, but also very moderately quick to cast, but a very slow moving spell. As you can see here, it's taking its time, but when it does finally explode, it leaves this huge AoE. It does a ton of damage as well. We can actually go ahead and show that off right now. Huge amount of damage. This is just a Disciple. It's been rigged up with the model of Baron, so we can test this out, but as you can see, he did 80 damage. The main aspect to this spell here is the fact that it is quicker to cast, so you can go ahead and you can cast it, then you can cast it again, then you can cast it a third time. You can just kind of keep casting like that. This is his main signature spell, so he's going to keep casting it. So you just have these giant fireballs moving towards you at any given point in time. So next up is the Flames of Anguish spell. Let's go ahead and start to pull it out. So this spell here summons a little fireball, and this fireball is going to chase you down. So there's two main mechanics to this fireball here. Actually, technically three main mechanics. Let's go ahead and summon it. So the first thing it's going to do is it's going to try and chase after you. As you can see, here comes the fireball. But also, as you can see, he has some health on him as well. So he will lose health slowly over time, and then slowly die. And this also means that you can attack it and try to kill it. However, as also part of it, if you let it get too close to you, I'll let it do it right now, it'll cast a spell, cast a short-range little spell that's a big AoE. This spell is going to deal friendly fire damage, so you can use it to hurt Baron, but it will also be used to kill himself, essentially, so the fireball will kill itself in its own explosion, essentially. Next up is the Vortex. This is going to be a giant tornado, where if your units get too close to it, they won't be able to move or attack. This spell, just like the Flames of Anguish, has a long cooldown, so Baron can't spam it too quickly. However, let's go ahead and just cast it. Let's check it on out. So it'll have a unique little spell effect, as you can see here. Nice iconic spell. And then as you can see here as well, it does have health, so you can wait for it to die or attempt to kill it. As you can see, when I get too close, it's going to lock my movement. So this movement lock is actually going to be for about 3 seconds, and then afterwards you have a 3-second window to try to escape before you'll get hit with it again. So if you do get caught, you'll need to try and move out of the way quickly as soon as it ends, or else you'll just be caught by it again. And bearing in mind that you might be getting attacked the entire time, so the player will really need to decide what they need to do, and if they need to leave a unit behind, they may have to do that. Finally, when Baron reaches his second phase at 50% health, he's going to start to summon a ton of fireballs to rain down from the sky. Let's go ahead and pull up the spells. I actually want to show off both the spell itself and also the sub-spell. So let's go ahead, and this is the physical spell that he's going to cast. What Raining Stars is going to do is it's actually going to be continuously casting this spell, Rain Fire from the Sky. Let's actually cast it real quick, and I want to show it off. So it's a very small, very long-range spell. Let's go ahead and cast it. As you can see here, extremely fast to cast, and there's a little black dot that comes down before it lands, and that's just the little spell. So as you can imagine, these are going to be coming down everywhere very rapidly. So in order to be able to cast Raining Stars, we're actually going to need to be at half health. So let's go ahead and damage ourselves. Pretty quick damage, and now let's go ahead and cast it. As you can see, this huge ball of light is here, and it shoots off this little giant ball. And now we're seeing the Raining Stars come down. You can see here they all are. I wanted to kind of coat the battlefield with it, so this will need a little bit more tuning once I get the battlefield set up. But as you can see here, everything's just kind of falling down from the sky. Looks pretty cool. A fun fact, if you do wait about 20 minutes, Raining Stars is going to come off cooldown and Baron will be able to cast it again. So if you're taking extremely long to fight the boss, you may have to deal with 2 instances of this, but for the most part, I'm quite happy with it. I like how it's just everything just falling from the sky. Looks pretty cool. I could probably pump it up and make sure that there's more falling down, or like add more spells coming down to hit the ground, or like make it more dangerous or anything like that, but I'm going to leave it as this for now, and when I get to testing the actual boss arena, I will make sure to further tailor this. So with all that set up, the next area is to actually set up the boss arena. I'll need to be setting up a special type of arena in which once the player enters it, they either have to fight and die to the boss, or that's about it. I may give an option for the player to try to escape, so they can leave it if they need to, but I think the best thing is just set up the arena, make sure a player can't escape or bring any new units into it, and then if they die, they have to restart the entire fight, starting from 100% HP. And before I forget, this will go on for the rest of the fight, so this will just keep happening over and over, and all these Raining Stars will kind of keep riddling the battlefield throughout the entire duration of the 50% and less part of the fight. Alright, so I blocked out the size and shape of his level designs. Let's go ahead, and we're right now at the Squadron of Baron. So this is the boss right before the Apprentice Dragon Baron. So let's kind of come up here. As you can see, you can take either route, doesn't really matter too much. Back here, a bit of a secret path, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. I'll just leave it as like a little bit of a secret. And as we come up here, I carved out a whole bunch of stuff. So as you can see, I got some units right there for testing. I'm going to go ahead and move through here. Nothing too crazy, just some little odds and ends kind of sticking out just to make it look more interesting. Not just like a linear path, but it comes straight up here. As you can see, there's our boss. We got a nice sized arena right here. Totally open and everything. I just wanted it to be like a full-sized, full-fledged arena. Just to make it so that it's as fair as possible when the player is fighting them. And coming up here, so this is essentially the end of the map. Right here, if you remember from the 2D version of the game, there's going to be a passageway here, so I'll put in one of those later. But that passageway is going to take the player to the next map and then further on in the game. But for the most part, here's the setup. Let's go ahead and switch to a game view, and then I can kind of show it off as if you're from the player perspective. So we're standing where those 3 disciples were, right outside the boss room. Let's go ahead and make our way in. As you can see here, just a big open pathway. I'm not going to put in any enemies or anything like that. And just a bunch of trees and stuff. You kind of just walk in. And then a few extra pathways. So there's one there, and then of course there's one there. And then let's walk into the boss fight area. As you can see, tons of open space. Oh, I might get hit by that tornado if I get too close. So tons of open space. Let's kind of walk around it a little bit and kind of show it off. Lots of trees. Kind of zoom out a little bit, show it off a little bit better. But what looked like a little tiny area is actually a pretty huge area when you actually get in here. That's a good open elements. So you should be able to control 3 units in here fairly easily. As you can see, Baron's just attacking us. Let's go ahead and move our way up here. Just kind of show off a little bit of the rest of it. I'll stay zoomed out so it's more interesting. But kind of like walk back here, see some stuff, see some little nooks and crannies. Maybe I'll put like some water or something back here. It's like a little extra reward if you go and explore. But as I move up here, this should be the end. Another little nook and cranny right there, and this is the end right here. So right here is going to be where the passageway is going to go. And so basically you'll show up here after you've defeated the boss, click it, and then boom, you get to move into the next area. That part won't be in the demo. The demo is basically going to end right here at the Apprentice Dragon Baron, but forward thinking, that's how the game's going to go after the demo is complete. So without further ado, let's go ahead and... So the next phase belongs to these little entrances and exits, as you can see here. Let's actually... Oh, we move before I get hit by a bunch of stuff. As you can see here, here's the exit, so we were just right there a second ago. And let's go ahead and pan over here. As you can see, the disciple's already moving over there. This was the entrance. Oh, don't worry about him disappearing. When you get into the boss arena, I'm going to light everything up so that there's no fog of war and you can't disable him or cheese him in that way. But here's the entrance right here, so I'm going to go ahead and set up... I think I'm going to set up some sort of like little golden gate kind of thing. So you come up here, you have all your units next to it, you click it, and then you say, would you like to enter the boss arena? And then you say yes, and it teleports you in right here. So all your units are in here to fight, and then you go in and fight the boss. And you can't exit or run away or anything like that, or even, equally as importantly... Well, I didn't summon it, I'll have to look more into that. But equally as importantly, you can't attempt to like shoot spells over or anything like that. I just want to make it all walled off. Eventually there's going to be more spells, like a teleport spell, so I don't want players to be able to teleport into the boss arenas and skip out on a bunch of stuff. So that should be that. Let me go ahead and start working on that, and we'll set up a little gate, and we'll make sure that the boss is basically fully contained. Alright, so I just finished setting up the arena. Let's go ahead and check it out. Quite a good deal of programming and a bunch of additional stuff, but I think I've got all my bases covered now, so that should be perfect. So when you get up to it, you're greeted with this giant fireball just sitting here with this wall of fire blocking you from being able to see or move any forward. So you just go ahead and click on it. It'll ask you if you want to engage the boss. As part of this, if you press yes, it's going to check and make sure all your units are near it and that you're out of combat. And then it'll do an autosave as soon as you press yes. So let's go ahead and hop in there. As you see, we get in here. And this is the other side of that wall right there. So the boss is just kind of engaging away. And we have full vision during the entire fight, so I don't want anything to kind of be hidden or anything like that. Coming over to the backside, here's just the exit of it. So there's two major features belonging to this. So the first one is if the player dies, everything in the room gets reset. So as you can see, we got some units here. We got the boss here. Technically, if the boss had lower health or anything like that, that would get reset too, his position, everything. So let's go ahead and actually I'm just going to kill the player unit. As you can see, that immediately died, and then once everything is, ignore that. Once all of this goes away, it'll reset the boss. So the best way to check that is we can actually go all the way back. I'm going to have to go ahead and pull another unit over here, so give me a second for that. Alright, so I pulled another unit over. As part of the death, when you do die, he is going to reset all his cooldowns and all that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and let's re-enter the boss arena. And this time, we're going to actually kill him and show off what happens when that occurs. Let's go ahead and re-enter. So we're back in here, kind of doing all of his normal stuff. As you can see, his cooldown got reset. So he was able to recast that vortex. And of course, the Flames of Anguish. So let's go ahead and let's kill him. And then with that, we'll show off what happens when that occurs. Alright, so I just killed him. All of his summons went away. And then, of course, we get a cool little message saying we just got the Tome of Apprenticeship, etc., etc. We got the waypoint. And then all of these are also gone. As you can see here, everything's gone. Can't click. Oh, maybe I need to fix that. I'll fix that, but as you can see here, everything's gone. The wall's gone, everything. So you can basically just move on as per normal. And continue on through the area. Of course, the waypoints here and everything. And one quick thing I forgot to show off. When you get close and trying to attack the wall, essentially, or try and shoot a spell through the wall, maybe you have, for example, in the future, you'll have a teleport spell, or maybe you're trying to just shoot over the wall to hit the boss or something like that. I actually set up an entire wall mechanism that'll just destroy it for you, so let's go ahead and try and cast. As you can see, when I try and shoot beyond it, I just get knocked off. Move these guys out of the way. You should try and cast, see when he casts. And it just goes away completely. Alright, so before I go and fight the boss, I actually wanted to set up a cool little secret area. So as you can see here, here's the 3 units I kind of set up for testing. There's the boss himself, but then if we come over here, actually a little easier if I just zoom through all this. There's this little secret pathway, so the squadron's right there. You come up through here, and then here's this little secret. So I blocked it off until after you defeat the boss, but then when you come back here, it's a bunch of grass and this cool little tree and stuff kind of set up. But then there's some 4 additional waters right here. So that there's 3 over in the Twin Mutasa layer and then 4 over here. And I think I want to make it so that like the player has to collect all of these resources in order to be able to advance their units to apprentices, which is going to be the main reward of defeating Baron. Alright, so with that, I think it's time to start to test out the boss. I really want to just fight him and just see how he plays and how he's kind of running around. I did a little bit of that testing before, especially during setting up this arena, I wasn't too big of a fan of him. I felt he was kind of easy, and I felt he was kind of not that complicated, so I really wanted to kick it up a little bit. So let's go ahead and work on that a little bit. Let's see what's going on. Alright, so if you're ready, let's head on in there. Let's go ahead and check out this fight. I think everything's pretty fun. Maybe I can make it a little bit harder, but for the most part, I think it's alright. So let's head in there. As you can see, we can just come up here, click this, gauge the boss, yes, and then here we are. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and so let's kind of show off a little bit of his spells in action. So here's, of course, the Flames of Anguish spell. I'm actually going to move in here and start attacking him. Here comes a Vortex. So one of the strategies about fighting this Flames of Anguish is he's going to keep chasing you and he has low health. You can keep running away from him, but you could also get close to him and let him kind of attack and then run away as quickly as you can before he hits you. Another strategy is to actually try and shoot it with, say, a fireball or something like that. As you can see here, he's also summoning tornadoes. So these tornadoes can get attacked. Let's see if I can just do a quick attack. If you use the lesser fireball on him, it's kind of bad because you have to get real close for that one. But there you go. So see, you took it out. So here's this guy. One thing... So I let him kill himself that time. However, next time I'll try and show off the next strategy, which is you can try and cast a lesser fireball on him. So here he comes, actually. Let's cast right here. Hopefully, let's see. Yeah, so now he took a bunch of damage, and now he's killing himself, so he's gone pretty quickly. A lot of vortexes coming out. Let's go ahead and just keep damaging him. The main damaging spell for Baron is Mystic Bolt. That's a little bit slower, so if you want something faster, use lesser fireball for the most part. I think this strategy's fine. I missed there. So you gotta really aim. Also, one thing of note, I did turn off all the friendly fire. I did notice during one of the fights I was in that he ended up killing himself at the end of it, and I feel like that's just like not satisfactory to the player to be fighting this big old boss, and then at the end of it he just kind of ends up accidentally killing himself, and it's kind of lame. So, from other bosses and like mini-bosses and stuff like that, I want that to be an element. However, for this one, I think it's more fun just to do the full fight without any sort of help, in a sense. So, it's going to keep running around. It's mostly just about dodging the Flames of Anguish coming towards you, dodging all of his giant fireball spells, which isn't too difficult. So you can see he's already in the second phase. So now we're going to have to be dodging all of the other raining stars. So here they all come. They're pretty easy to tell because they're just going to be just little black dots for a second, so you can kind of tell where they're going to be. Just going to move back in here. I did increase the width, as you can see here, the AoE size of the raining stars. Let's see if I can show that one off right there. See, it's pretty big now, and they deal twice as much damage. I felt this is a little bit more fair since they are pretty small to begin with. Let's go ahead and cast again. So really this fight's just all about running around, trying to avoid the Flames of Anguish, and then avoiding his giant fireballs. And then... oh! That might be... yeah, there we go. It's my first death in all the attempts I've been doing. It should be soloable, so I'm just going to keep going. But if not, we're going to see what happens when you die. Just going to keep running around. It's a little bit easier to maneuver when you only have a single unit, but the damage is now 1/3 of what it was. In hindsight, I probably should have cast my heal spell on the units, but I think they died just too quickly. One thing you need to worry about is when he does try and cast this vortex spell, ooh, am I gonna get caught? Nope. I didn't even see that one. One of the things about the vortex spell is he can cast it directly towards you in some instances. So in that case, it's pretty hard to run away from, so you gotta kind of be on your toes. As you can see here, he's below 25% HP, and when he hits this point, he actually is now a desperation phase, so he's attacking much faster. Let's see if I can squeeze in between these two vortexes. If you get too close to them, they're gonna get you, but their range is a little bit larger than their visual, which I think is okay, because I like the current visual, and if I make it any larger, it'll look kind of dumb. And then, plus, it's not that much larger. Oh, I got two of these guys chasing me. For the most part, Baron just kind of sits in the center, which is good. But he will move around, so you gotta be cautious of that. Albeit I haven't had any super big problems with it. I got a lot of these guys following me. Let's move up here. Some vortexes over here, so I'm gonna skirt through here. This boss is a lot of memorizing where all of his spells are gonna land, and then engaging in when you see an opportunity to do so. Oh, here comes that. Okay, I thought that vortex was gonna hit me. If that was the case, I probably would have got killed by him. One more hit. So I can just kind of run around here. There we go. It's all dead. Cool. And we, of course, get the cool little text here that we got the Tome of Apprenticeship. I'm going to be working on that next because I want the player to be able to advance their units into apprentices. But for the most part, that's the boss defeated. If we were to come up here, that's essentially the way forward. I haven't done anything over there, so there's nothing to worry about there. We got our cool little waypoint here, so let's actually run all the way back here to that secret area. Let's go check that out. So since we got that waypoint, I figured it would only be fair to resurrect our fallen allies. So let's go ahead and make our way over here. Normally you probably already have all this area discovered, but since I'm just doing testing, I only have the small part of the map uncovered. Let's move all the way up here. And then through this little nook and cranny. See, if you go that way, you go back to the squadron area. We come up through here. And that wall is now gone. We come up here and grab our reward. All of this water. Pretty cool. So the next phase I'd like to work on is actually getting these units up to apprentice status. That's the final reward for this this demo. And then that'll actually help us greatly when we go into the next part of the game, which is going to be the next area. And so that should be great, and that should be really giving us a place to, essentially a foothold, to kind of progress further, and then develop even more interesting content from there. So that should be it for the demo. As far as gameplay goes, Baron was the last boss of the demo. That theoretically completes the demo. However, there's still a lot of cleanup I'd like to do, and a lot of bugs I'd like to fix, and just overall general improvements to the game I'd like to make before releasing the demo. I really want to make this demo as best as I can make it, just to give the best first impression and just give a overall this is how the game's going to be. So with all that being said, hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one.